Hey folks, put the kettle on. It's tea time with Salty Brine.
Brace yourself, high-octane action. Tea and chats bring satisfaction. Laugh and sing before we tea you. Yes, we clamor to be near you. Whoa. Now look who we have here. It's Igor Golyak. Wow! Yeah! Welcome, Igor. Welcome, audience. Welcome, folks at home.
Salty's here to interview our guests and then we'll go.
That's right. Hope we can encourage you to buy tickets to this show. Cause maybe you were on the fence, but now you'll invite your friends. Let's cut all this nonsense and sip our tea and get to know Igor Golyak! Yeah! Igor, welcome to Tea Time.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much. Please have a seat.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, here we are in my little tea parlor. It's my dream come true. Sitting here with you.
Yeah.
And
nice.
Are you a tea drinker?
I am.
Yeah? Well, then
Yeah.
let's get you some tea right now.
Excellent.
I think I have a lovely herbal tea for you.
Yeah. When I didn't know that this was a TV interview, so I have.
You have ripped
pants.
jeans?
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you
Is
look cool.
that okay?
Yeah, you look cool.
Yeah.
Baby, we're in Brooklyn. Like this is what's happening. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah,
I don't have ripped pants.
Now I don't know which leg to uncover.
Well, do you have a sexier knee?
I've been told that I have sexy knees. Actually, I have been told that, but
My goodness.
maybe that's why I wore them.
Is it hot
Anyway.
in here or is it the tea? I don't know.
We haven't tried the tea yet.
There we go. Let's try it right now. I wonder. Ooh, it smells very good. It smells very.
Do we do it at the same time, or
Yeah, sure. Let's taste it.
let's do it?
Look at me when you do it. It's like it's very intimate. Igor, I like it.
What's the interview about?
It's off the rails already. I don't know. I've lost the thread. No, we're here to talk about you. And look at, I have a very secret drawer filled with my very secret host questions.
Do I have one?
No, you have no. What, do you
No,
have a
I
drawer over
one,
there?
but I do, but it's empty.
There's nothing in it.
Uh,
Can we make a note to get something in the drawer for the guests? My God. Welcome. If the song wasn't enough, I'll welcome you again. You have a fascinating story. You're from Ukraine, born in Ukraine, yes?
Yes.
You're a refugee, left at age 11.
Yeah.
And now here we find you. You've received international acclaim for theater.
I don't know about that.
How did you come to the theater? What was your journey to theater?
What was my journey to theater? You know, I came here when I was 11, and I was trying to figure out. The backstory is I was told that I was Jewish when I was 7. My father informed me of this fact while shaving. And by the way, you're Jewish. And so I'm still trying to figure out what the hell that means. Can I say?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I think so.
After that introduction, I think, yeah.
Anything goes.
Anything goes. And then we immigrated at 11. I was 11. We immigrated to Boston. And I've been trying to figure out what all of that means. So theater was a way for me to bridge the cultures and bridge the connections and try to figure myself out.
So it's like a place for you to sort through all your thoughts and feelings about
Kinda, yeah.
your identity.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And then that must be a wonderful help for immigrant audience members and refugee audience members that come to see your work. Do you feel like that that bleeds out into an experience for that kind of audience?
Yeah, I try to do shows that can be used as a tool, as a dialogue with the audience. Some of the what I see in the immigrant community, what are the pain points of the immigrant community. Those are the shows that I'm interested in doing, because it's not about just executing something, staging something. It's about having a dialogue, and that dialogue is what I'm interested in. Theater is just a way to make that happen.
Do you work in any other mediums other than theater then? Is it?
So during the pandemic, we had to pay for studio.
Yes.
So I started learning virtual production. Using green screen studio, using Unreal Engine and all of that. So we have some experiments. We've done some experiments. We've done a show called State versus Natasha. We've done Chekhov OS, Chekhov operating system, where the characters are stuck. The characters are stuck just like we were in the pandemic inside this virtual environment, virtual world of Chekhov's poetics, where they had a sense of loss of agency. And so I started experimenting with that. We did a bunch of experiments like that. And so I guess I gained that knowledge, but that's all I got.
And it's been very successful, your virtual theater. Yes, it's gone very well.
Yeah, it's gone very well. We've performed virtually in 50, people from 55 countries came to see our shows. People from down the street as well as people from Australia at the same time, and it was quite mesmerizing because the shows are quite interactive, so they could see each other. So it's a virtual place of where people meet and can connect virtually, and that's what the experiments were. Is there a way for us to virtually actually connect, not just have a two-dimensional screen, but actually have connection between the people, just like we do in the theater?
Yeah, and you found, because that always seemed to me, when we were in the middle of the pandemic and we couldn't make theater, I'm a theater maker, I was desperate, and people started turning to this virtual theater, and it was really hard to do, to have the connection, to the thing that the theater gives us, right, that connection. What's the way that you found that works, or what have through these experimentations have you found stuff that's like really clicking?
I think what's important is approaching it from the point of view. What are the best ways to, just like you go into any room, any theater space, or when you do theater in a site-specific environment, you get into it and you look around and you smell the theater, you taste the theater, you look around. What are the best uses of this space? How can you use the space in a way that is unexpected, that has its own uniqueness to it? And same approach with virtual theater. What is the uniqueness of virtual production? For example, immediate reaction, right? There's a chat, for example, right? That's something that we don't have in live theater. So that could be a parallel. That could be a parallel narrative that is happening. For example, in Chekhov OS, characters were texting the audience members about a side narrative that was happening at the same time. That is not possible to do in the theater. So things like that, getting the audience involved, immediate reaction, where they're not just observing, where it's not just a monologue towards the audience, where it's a dialogue with the audience.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's making me think of what I think about all the time because of the ability of film and television to do so many things that theater can't, thinking about what theater can give people that they can't get on their couches at home.
Right.
But you've sort of applied that thinking to virtual theater. What can virtual theater do that live theater can't do, rather than thinking of it as something inhibiting.
Exactly, but not just what live theater can do, but it's also what the film can't do.
Its own complete own category.
We had audience members voting on scenes, and then taking that, and then they realized that they actually had no agency. And then to kind of explode that point, we had a live fish. Her name was Olga, and so we put her.
Name.
A fish named Olga. We put her in a tank, and the person that was interacting with the character that was interacting with the audience, we would put like squares on the fish tank, and wherever the fish swim, that would be the chosen scene that we would do. So it would be the audience choosing scenes, Olga choosing scenes, and ultimately people realizing that it doesn't matter.
The sort of happenstance of it. How did Olga do?
She did really well. Sometimes there was a problem where she was just like, and we had audience, and it's like,
Hey, hey, hey.
Can you do something?
Do your thing.
Like you're
Be a fish. Ah, the deadpan is really...
Yeah, she's like, today I don't feel like it.
That's amazing. So you've started this theater company. Am I going to say the name right? Arlequin?
Yeah.
Amazing theater company in Boston.
Right.
Which is a theater company made up of immigrants?
Yes.
How did the theater company come about?
Theater company came about, I started teaching acting for adults.
Yeah.
And we got together, and I said, and these were mostly my friends initially, and they wanted to learn about theater, learn about acting, and I said, give me 9 months, and you will know nothing. But you have to stick with me for 9 months.
Yeah.
So at the end of 9 months, Arlequin was born.
That's amazing. Everybody sort of wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
And make stuff together.
Yeah.
Became a family, maybe.
Absolutely.
Incredible. And so now you're here in New York presenting this show, Our Class. It's through Under the Radar at BAM.
Yes.
What's the show about?
The show is about 10 classmates, 5 Catholic Poles and 5 Jews. It starts in about 1920s, and it goes through beginning of 2000s. And in 2000, there was a book that came out called Neighbors by Jan Gross that described events of a pogrom that happened in 1941 in a small town called Jedwabne in Poland. And it was always thought that the Germans, the Nazis, had burned a barn full of Jews. And it actually, with this archival work, it came out that through the work of Jan Gross and the book Neighbors, it actually were their neighbors that burned them. It was the Catholic Poles that lived in this small city, a small town of about 3,200 people, that burned the other half of the town, like just burned, fully burned.
And they were not these Catholic community members.
They
were not Nazis.
They were not Nazis.
But
they
so
were
then,
Nazis.
what had happened? What came over them that this horrible event?
So one of the reasons for me to stage this play is the idea that I feel like a lot of times in America, and my daughter going through high school and so forth, anti-Semitism and this type of hate is believed to have existed in these evil people called Nazis that have long perished, that are somewhere overseas, not exactly sure where on the map, but somewhere over there, and that these people have existed. We learn about them as we should, maybe, and we move on. But we compartmentalize and we put them. Those are them, and in this show. What's really interesting is that we realize that these monsters can live in us.
Yes.
That Nazis were they executed the hate that has lived in the European culture, anti-Semitism, for centuries and centuries and centuries. They just executed it really well, and. So it wasn't just the Nazis. Some of the biggest pogroms that happened in Poland happened after World War II. Had nothing to do with Nazis or Germans, and before, and so forth. So it's not an isolated event, and I think that's a really important part of the story. That this hate is not an isolated event. And having 2 children, Jacob and Esther. I feel like it's important to speak about it, especially with 400% increase in anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic acts in the United States.
Absolutely. That's incredible, and the work you're doing is incredible. And, the show is set in 1941, this actual event that happened, and you've been working on the show for how long?
So we have started rehearsals December 4th, but I started working on the show at the end in June. in June, we took a trip to Poland to visit this town, which still exists there. There's the place where this all happened. There's that barn. Oh, there's no barn because it was burned. But there is a place. There's a plaque. And we visited the playwright, whose name is Tadeusz Slobodjanek, and our scenic designer from Germany, from the Schaubühne Theater, came as well. So there was three of us, a Jew, a Pole, and a German walking around. And it was just an amazing, beautiful experience where we bonded and we talked about all of it. We read the play. We experienced this place. There's a lot of stories in that. I don't know if 25 minutes will cover it. So.
Oh my God, that sounds so tantalizing. But it must have been very powerful to be there.
It is very actual. Absolutely. It was. What was the most powerful? Just quickly.
Yeah.
The most powerful thing for me. I was actually getting ready for an experience where I'm gonna be bawling, and I'm gonna be like.
Yeah.
So I was preparing. I was buttoning up my buttons to hold myself in, to be I was there for business. So I was trying to hold. And when I came to Poland, the biggest surprise and the biggest kind of event, as we would say in play analysis, is the absence of an event. We were going to Lublin, and Tadeusz was telling us about this was the capital of Jewish life. There was a Jewish university here, and biggest Jewish community here that lived. And so we finally went to Lublin, to this place where all of this was, and he says, and there it is. And we look down. We're a little bit on the hill, and I say, where? And he says, right there. And there's a parking lot. And this was the absence of, I don't know, the absence of memory, the absence of these people that were there, and it's a parking lot. And this is what I felt when I was there.
And all this buttoning up that you had done in preparation.
Yeah.
What did you find that you unbuttoned? Did you did you need the buttoning up, or did you find that you could release or open to it?
I mean, once I realized, it's interesting because it was unexpected. The hit was unexpected because I was expecting something, very much in the field. You go to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, and and it just hits you, and you process it, and here it's like, okay, I'm buttoned up, but there's almost nothing to process. And the fact that there is nothing to process hits you from a different direction that you completely didn't expect.
Yes. You said, before we started the interview, we were talking earlier, and you said that the show that you're making now, Our Class, is quite funny.
Yeah.
And when you said that surprised me, because everything I'd read about it, I was like, I was buttoning myself up to talk to you in a way like, oh my God, this is very heavy. Can you tell me about how comedy works into the show?
So going back to the previous question about why this show is important for me, and the fact that tragedy like that can live in the mundane, can live in the everyday. And every day, we're trying not to be tragic. We're trying to survive and enjoy, and we have a fun show, and and we have a fun, and we as people try to find happiness, right? And I think the path to happiness and path to enjoyment of life is present in all of the people, even if they're dead, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's in order for us to realize that these people are just like us, they're striving to be happy. They're striving. They're very human. on both sides of the company of these characters. The Poles and the Jews in this play are trying to be happy. They're trying to love. They're trying to play soccer. There's a soccer match. So they are just like us. And so the question is, how does this happen? But in order to, how does this happen that we turn on each other, and we turn sometimes without noticing? And that's the most interesting and scariest thing, that sometimes we don't notice. Look at the war in Ukraine.
Yes.
And people are they're neighbors, also neighbors,
yes.
right? Killing each other, and people are absolutely sure of that they're killing the other people for a great cause. And this is what I'm trying to uncover, but in order for us to uncover that, in my opinion, it's very important to make it so that these people feel close to us, that they're just like us.
Yeah.
And they're fun, and they're trying to enjoy life. There's hardships that they go through, but they're humans.
It's making me think of, the war in Ukraine at the moment and everything that's going on in the Middle East. And do you think that there's theater and storytelling happening in those places right now? Do you have any sense of that, or do you think that that's a possibility? We need stories so much as humans.
Yeah, that's a good question. I was doing this Ukrainian piece, and it felt like, but I was doing it here. It felt like there's no way to. It felt wrong to theatricalize, if that's a word.
Yeah.
Because it's not theater. It's actually real. What's happening right now. So, with something that's in 1941, you have some distance.
Yeah.
But although that distance is also non-existent right now because of what's happening in the Middle East and the terrorist attack of October 7th. So, I don't have an answer for you. I wish I could. Yes, people need stories, and I think the stories that help people right now in those parts of the world, it seems like they're stories about survival. They're stories about happiness and moving on. But here, we need to try to understand how we as humans get to that place.
Yes.
And that's how I see that. That's what interests me.
This is what the work is right now for you.
Yeah.
When you were in the middle of making this when October 7th happened. How did that change did it change the trajectory of what you were making in any way?
We had a first reading of this play actually in May of last year, and because I've never seen it or heard it out loud, so I asked some friends, and we had some people that actually ended up in the production, some actors, and we read it out loud. And after doing all this research, I came to a conclusion that this play is not about what had happened; it's about what's going to happen. And this is what I told them in May.
Wow.
I am not interested in teaching lessons about the past. I don't see it as my job. I'm not a teacher, but I do feel like this. I think my approach and what is much more urgent, in my opinion, for me, is that this is something that's going to happen. And it's 100% going to happen. And just for us to understand that we can get to this type of hate where we burn a barn full of people is something that is active. That's something that is, it's not about somebody else. And it's happening in Ukraine, it's happening in Israel, and it's going to happen to other people as well. And that's something for us as humans to ponder on and to consider.
You're also you've started an organization or created a hashtag, right? Artists for Ukraine. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah. So when the war started, I actually Zoomed with somebody I knew that has that runs a theater in Kiev, and it was a basement theater that they started using as a bomb shelter, and that theater, it was like a black box in the basement, and it looked very much like my own black box in Massachusetts. So it felt like there's such a connection there. I am here standing in my black box, and he's there also standing in his black box. But he has these mattresses and rugs where that people sleep on, and so it felt like there is a connection there, like a brotherhood, or I don't know. So my producer and I, Sarah Stackhouse, we created this Artist for Ukraine fund, and we started raising money. We started buying, when people were fleeing Ukraine, we started buying hotel rooms, and just trying to figure out a way to pass the money on to the people that were just fleeing. And so that's and we had a bunch of artists that contributed, Mark Ruffalo, Jessica Hecht, and so forth, that have contributed videos. Artists recorded videos, sometimes with a poem, sometimes with a song, and they would ask for money for this fund.
It's just remarkable because you're coming at it from both ways, right? From here and working with us, helping us to understand the urgency of and the terror of the future of events like this. And you're also like reaching out a hand and literally giving people things they need. I mean, you're remarkable.
Oh, thank you. It's not just me. It's the whole company. Sarah Stackhouse does a lot of this work.
Incredible. You live a few hours away in Boston, yes? Do you have a relationship with New York City? Do you come down here a lot?
To do plays. So we've done a couple of projects here. We've done the Ukrainian project at Lincoln Center. We've done the Orchard at the Bershnikov Art Center. And now we're doing this at BAM. So back and forth,
coming down and making theater in New York. And do you love Boston?
I love Boston as well. My parents are there. My family is there. So I go back and forth.
It's wonderful. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. You're an amazing guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Igor Golyak. Give it up! Thank you so much. Igor's show, Our Class, runs January 12th through the 21st at BAM Fisher. Check it out. Thank you so much. Amazing, amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. Nate White to play us out. Woohoo!